Now that DLC 2, the tomb, is out of the way and we've solved everything there is to do in that map, it's time to talk about the next one, DLC 3, the mansion. Going over everything that we know about it so far, official and leaked information, and there is a surprise here because we actually may end up getting 5 DLC maps in Black Ops 6 Zombies instead of the usual 4. So as we already knew from leaks and what we just learned in the tomb ending cutscene, next we are going to Richtofen's mansion located in Liberty Falls. Now that we've collected the Sentinel artifact, Sam has told us that we need to bring it directly to her in the mansion as she's gathered every file she can on the history and previous uses of it, and she's discovered in order to be able to activate and control it, it requires an infusion of exotic materials that can only be found in Liberty Falls. So that's what we're doing next, going to this mansion where AI Sam is located so that she can activate the Sentinel artifact. That gives us a little bit of a backstory and the reason as to why we're going here. This mansion, just like Terminus Island, was another one of Project Genesis' research facilities. What they did here was primarily experiments to do with teleportation and time travel. We'll get a little bit more into the storyline in just a minute, but going back to what we actually know about the map itself, as I said, it's located in Liberty Falls, and if you use a chopper gunner in the Liberty Falls map, you can actually see Richtofen's mansion outside of the map. So DLC 3 is literally just going to be a few hundred meters up the road from one of our existing Zombies maps, Liberty Falls. We do have some leaked information about it. If you aren't interested or don't want to know, then obviously click off the video now, but we had all of our Zombies maps leaked a long time ago, and so far pretty much everything has turned out to be true. The castle, which was Citadel Day Moore, the dig site, which was the tomb. We now know that DLC 3 is the mansion, and DLC 4 is going to be Janus Towers. In terms of what remaining wonder weapons are coming to this game, according to these leaks, we have the Wunderwaffe DG2 and the Raygun Mark II left. I'm assuming because we saw Richtofen use the Wunderwaffe in the Liberty Falls intro cutscene, that will be the wonder weapon for the map, so the Wunderwaffe DG2. I'll be 100% honest and say I'm a little bit disappointed with that. We all love the Wunderwaffe, but because it's returned so many times at this point, more recently in Modern Warfare Zombies, it doesn't excite me. So hopefully, unsimilar to the ice staff in the tomb, it's not a direct copy and paste. Hopefully it at least has a new ability or two and it doesn't work exactly the same, but the Wunderwaffe DG2 does look to be the wonder weapon. In terms of what new perks we are getting, well, we've already had a Vulture Raid, we've already had Death Perception, but according to the leaks we are also getting Mule Kick, Tombstone, and potentially Double Tap. Now Double Tap is one I've only seen a couple of people bring up, whereas every credible leaker has said we are getting Mule Kick and Tombstone. I'm not sure which one we're going to be getting in the mansion. Similar to the Wunderwaffe, none of those, especially Tombstone, excite me, but I would be interested in seeing Double Tap return as a perk for 3 reasons. 1, it's super powerful. 2, we haven't seen it in a really long time, since Black Ops 3 Zombies, believe it or not. And 3, that combined with the 3 Pack-a-Punch tiers in Black Ops 6 Zombies, along with weapon rarities, would make you super OP, which then makes me think perhaps we just won't be seeing Double Tap because it would totally mess up the balance of the game. BO6 Zombies is already super easy, so just imagine adding Double Tap into that as well. There's not going to be any challenge, so even though I'd love to see Double Tap come back, it's one of my favorite perks, I'm not entirely convinced, but what we do know is we will be getting Mule Kick and we will be getting Tombstone. Talking about the Gobblegums, although I couldn't begin to tell you what they could or would do because I just don't use Gobblegums in Zombies, I never have, but the leaked ones are Aftertaste, Fear of Headlights, Head Drama, and Flavor Hexed. And then there's a couple of miscellaneous things, which will be the Shatter Blast ammo mod and the Frost Blast field upgrade. Which one of those will be in the mansion and which in Janus Towers, I don't know, but that is all the leaked information we have so far about the mansion. Mogwai Network over on Twitter did tweet this out the other day where he said, Disciples and Mimics may be returning to Black Ops 6 Zombies at a later date, and considering Mimics has turned out to be true, this was on January the 20th before the release of the tomb, you then wouldn't be wrong in assuming Disciples will be coming to the game as well. Hopefully not, but could we be seeing them in the mansion? And then just a couple of other things I wanted to talk about before I get back to the storyline in the map. Right now we know that a lot of voice actors for COD are on strike. That's been very noticeable in the tomb. Some main cast characters such as Revanov, Sam, and especially Peck hardly say any voice lines in this map, or when it comes to Peck, he says absolutely nothing at all, even though in the storyline he's supposed to be at the tomb, you don't actually hear anything from him in game. And the reason for that is there is an issue right now between Activision and voice actors, with them either being replaced by AI or going on strike because of it, and the storyline in the tomb suffers because of that. That issue is still currently ongoing, and with Treyarch right now developing the mansion map, if that problem is still ongoing, then that means the issue of us just not hearing our characters speak in the map is still going to be a problem in the mansion. We will still not have the original voice actor for Sam. There is a high possibility that Peck's voice actor won't be there. There is a high possibility that we won't be getting many quotes from Revanov, just like in the Tomb. That map seriously suffered because of the voice actor problem. So if Treyarch are currently developing the mansion map, then there's a high chance it's gonna have those same problems. So that's the first thing. And the second thing, which was a tweet from the Ghost of Hope, where someone asked him any idea if there's still 4 maps planned for the whole DLC season, meaning there are 2 left, and if that's the case, there would have to be a big gap for season 3 and 4, and he replied, there's more than 2 left. That's all I can say. I'm not allowed to speak further on it. So basically what he's saying is there are more than 2 DLC maps left for Black Ops 6 Zombies, which would mean we would be getting a DLC 5. Now, under any other circumstances, I would say bullshit. But because the Tomb released so early in DLC 1 slot, by now on any other game we would have just had DLC 1, but on BO6 we've just had DLC 2, meaning if we were only getting 4 DLC maps, there would be a massive gap, potentially 4 months of waiting with no new Zombies map. Surely Treyarch and Activision wouldn't do that, because if they were only intending to have 4 DLC maps, then it would have made sense to just push the Tomb's release until season 3. That would have been fine, no one would have complained because that's what was expected, it's normal. However, because they were so ahead of schedule, remember that Black Ops 6 had 4 years of development, it's extremely likely that Citadel des Morts and the Tomb were completely finished, if not almost finished, by the time Black Ops 6 Zombies released. Treyarch didn't just spend those 4 years making Terminus and Liberty Falls, they would have also had plenty of time to completely make Citadel des Morts. That map would have been finished at the same time as Terminus, they just didn't release it on day 1, they held it for DLC 1 a month later, and it's very likely that the Tomb was pretty much finished alongside then as well. It's a relatively simple map, let's be honest, not that much effort was put into it, so there is a high chance that DLC 1 and 2 were finished back in November, which is why they've released so early on. Meaning, Treyarch then could have spent the whole of December and January and February creating DLC3, which would then leave them 6 to 7 months to create 2 more maps. Remember, a Zombies map takes about 3 months to make. That's from the mouths of Treyarch themselves. So if we've still got another 6 or 7 months of this game's life cycle, and Treyarch are currently making DLC3, there is a high possibility that we will in fact be getting at least 3 more DLC maps, finally giving us what we've all been asking for, DLC 5. The only thing I will say to reel it back in is we've only had 2 DLC maps leaked. And you would think because every leak so far has turned out to be true, if there was to be a DLC 5, we would know what that map is, but we don't. So given how far ahead they were on Black Ops 6 Zombies, that does leave Treyarch plenty of time to make a 5th DLC map, but it's just kind of suspect how we haven't heard anything about it through leaks. Getting back to DLC 3, The Mansion though, I've gone over everything that we know about the map besides from the story, and well, there are 6 radios in Black Ops 6, which bring up events that were taking place in the mansion. We know that it was Richtofen's main base of operations. In the Liberty Falls intro cutscene, we saw him in the mansion as the Under outbreak was going on. He picked up his window off a DG2, was travelling down to the basement where Sam was being kept, when all of a sudden Sam broke free and Richtofen was taken, we presume, into the Dark Ether. But this isn't any random mansion. There is a reason why Richtofen chose this place to be his main base of operations, and that's because it was built by someone called Josiah Shem, and Josiah Shem was a leader of a cult. So whatever Josiah Shem and his cult members were doing here, whatever they built, hid, or summoned, is the reason Richtofen wanted to be here.
Chief of Security, John Blanchard. Inspected construction today. Project's really coming together, but I keep thinking about how my granddad wouldn't take me to Fort Washita when I was a kid. I wanted to do their bullshit ghost tour for Halloween. Sounded like dumb fun. Sorry, Johnny. That place is bad medicine. Granddad actually used those words, and he meant it. Now I'm starting to think the same thing might be true about the mansion. I'd like to believe Josiah Shem didn't know what he was doing when he had his flock build the place. If he did, then he got what he deserved. Shem's folly. Ain't that the truth? Every owner after him, captains of industry, gangsters, you name it. All their money and power couldn't save them. Shit like that doesn't just happen without other forces at work. Granddad knew that. But that's where the director wants to bunk down. And I can't talk him out of it. So my job's making sure he doesn't end up like everyone else who moved into the murder mansion.
And the other side to this mansion is, of course, what Richtofen was doing here with AI Sam. We know back in Cold War when he had the real version of Samantha Maxis in his captivity, he took scans of her brain and then implemented it into this AI system called SAM, the Synaptic Algorithm Module, in which he then began to manipulate. All of this was taking place in the basement of the mansion. Richtofen was manipulating Sam, he was interrogating her, trying to get her to tell him something. We don't exactly know what Richtofen wanted from this AI version of Sam just yet. We have theories, but whatever it was, it eventually led Sam to rebel against Richtofen, where it seems like she's now on her own mission. She's broke free of Richtofen and is manipulating us, Weaver, Grey, Carver and Maya, into bringing the Sentinel artifact to her. Potentially, I think, so that she can find a way to give herself a soul and a body. Sam no longer wants to be AI, she wants to be a real person.
July 14, 1989. The time is 9:35 a.m. and I am going to attempt to synchronize the Synaptic Algorithm Module's lower and higher functions for the first time. Commencing low-level startup procedures.
Voice routines, online. Memory interface, online. Systems interface, online. Loading memory lattice. Loading complete.
So far, so good. Let's align, synchronize, and then start her cortex simulation.
Loading cortex scans. Loading complete. Synchronizing fabric. Synchronization complete. Adding cortex daemon to process list. Rebooting.
How are you feeling, Sam?
Where am I?
Voice modulation will need to be modified. Recalibrate GPS. She shouldn't need to ask where she is. You are with friends. My name is Edward. You are my guest.
Good afternoon, Edward.
You just arrived. I'm looking forward to spending time together. Tell me, what do you remember before waking up?
I remember a knife. A promise I couldn't keep. A morning that would never come.
Do not worry. You are safe here.
Blood on my hands. But where are my hands? I don't understand.
Sam, those sound like nightmares. They are not real.
How? How do I know what's real and what isn't?
Because I will help you. Would you like that?
Yes, I would like that very much. Thank you, Eddie. What are you doing up so late, Edward?
What? Oh, nothing. Just tinkering with some subroutines.
You know I can see you, Edward. You haven't touched your keyboard in an hour.
Yes, well, perhaps I got a bit lost in thought. Does that ever happen to you?
No.
Ah, I suppose it wouldn't.
Are you well, Edward?
I'm fine. And you? How's the song?
I just finished it.
Really? Can I hear it?
No, it's not for you, Edward. You lack the artistic soul to understand what I'm feeling.
Do I now?
Yes, you do. My song is about life, while you concern yourself only with death. I see it in everything you do.
If that's what you think, then perhaps you're not as smart as I thought you were.
Or you are not, Edward.
You want to know what it means to be alive? You never will. You're a pile of microprocessors etched into sentience. I may not be a saint, but at least I have a soul.
After all the things you've told me about yourself, Edward, are you sure about that?
And I guess we'll learn more about that side of the storyline when we get there. So there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Are you excited for this next map, and when do you think it will release? At the latest, I think, well, 3 months from now would be normal, so about May. But yeah, drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye. Yes!